goodness. Oh! Oh, great. Always at the wrong time. Beekly? Beekly, be careful, the power's out. Jeez. You never know how spooky a house is until you lose power. What was that? Who's there?
Bear wet!
Beekly, you scared me.
Beekly go get snack. Then light go away. Beekly try to reach light switch. Then Derek scared Beekly.
Yeah, Beekly, I need to turn the power back on. We had a surge. Just give me a second. Ah! Okay, Beekly, we have light.
Beekly can't go back to sleep. Beekly too excited.
Truth be told, me too. Hey, how about I make us some snacks and we watch a movie until we can get back to bed?
Okay. Beekly good with food.
Great! I have a great movie to watch and a perfect food to make with it. But before we get into any of that, Beekly, hey y'all, I'm Derek and welcome to Bad Movie Fry Night. And tonight, we're looking at the 1977 Japanese classic, House. House, or Hasu, is the first feature-length film from director Nobuhiko Obayashi. Prior to this film, Obayashi was a director of commercials, a job he landed from his experimental short films he made in college. He was commissioned by Toho in 1976 after the blockbuster sensation of Jaws. Obayashi took the job but soon decided a movie like Jaws wouldn't translate well into Japanese film. He began talking to his preteen daughter for ideas, and she listed off scary ideas she got when she visited her grandfather's house in the country over the summer. Obayashi took the ideas and crafted a story about a haunted house. The movie was a critical and box office success and led to a successful career for Obayashi. This is one of the weirdest and yet most stunning movies I have ever seen. I first saw it as a midnight spook show, and I immediately went out to find myself a copy. When I finally did, I started sharing it amongst all my friends. And I've gotten every single reaction from, I absolutely love this, to WTF, mate. And to go along with it, I am making chocolate banana wontons. Right now, I'm just mashing a couple of bananas into a fine paste. So let's get started. Our film begins with an animated title sequence. Dang, this movie sounds angry. And then we see an apparent photo shoot between Fantasy, the photographer, and Gorgeous, her friend. They're a couple of high school students getting ready for summer break. Fantasy and her other friends are supposed to be going to a summer camp with the teacher, Mr. Togo, while Gorgeous is going with her father out to the country. Or so she thinks. But when she gets home, she finds out her father has come home from Italy with a new fiancé who apparently travels with her own wind fan. Gorgeous is upset and starts dreaming of going to her dead mother's hometown to visit her aunt, who she hasn't seen in over 10 years. Well, we are then introduced to her 5 other friends, including Fantasy, who's creative, there's Melody, the musical one, Mac, the fat one, Prof, the smart one, Sweet, the kind one, and Kung Fu, the athletic one. They're all anticipating a trip to Mr. Togo's sister's camp, but soon learn the sister is having a baby, so the trip is canceled. So, Gorgeous decides to invite all of the girls to her aunt's house in the country, but first she has to ask if it's okay that she already offered the trip to her friends. The moral? It's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. Okay, so let's make our stuffing. We're going to just take that banana paste, and to that, we're going to add some semi-sweet chocolate bits, some cinnamon, and a little bit of vanilla extract. And we're just going to mix this all up and then set it off to the side until we're ready to use it. So, Gorgeous soon finds a random cat she names Blanche and receives a letter from her aunt saying it's great she's going to visit. At the same time, Gorgeous's father's fiancée decides it would be a great idea for her to go meet the girls at the house. I just hope her fan can fit in her sports car. Mr. Togo is supposed to go with them, but he's running late because he's stuck in an episode of The Monkees. The girls all start the trip, and Gorgeous explains the aunt's history in a flashback, which apparently the girls are actually watching along with the audience. I just want to know what kind of world these girls live in that they don't care that all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a silent movie starts playing. Fourth wall, what's that? Okay, so they go into the country, and while crossing the bridge, they're introduced again in an iris shot. Go planet! And they run into an ominous watermelon salesman who shows them the way to the house. Mac grabs a watermelon, and they get to the house where they meet Auntie, a white-haired woman in a wheelchair. Just remember, in most Asian storytelling, a white-haired woman represents a witch. So let's stuff our wontons. We're just going to put a dollop in the center. Coat one edge with water, like we do with all pastas. Fold it over into a triangle. Make sure it's nice and sealed. And then set it off to the side to dry. It shouldn't take longer than 10 minutes for them to dry. Now the girls start looking around the house and divvy up chores to help Auntie clean. Since the refrigerator's out of order, Mac puts her watermelon in the well to cool. During dinner, they realize the cat looks just like the cat in the pictures around the house, and Mac goes to get the watermelon. After a while, Fantasy realizes that Mac has never come back, so she goes out to look for her, and finds her head in the well. Soon, Fantasy tries to tell everyone about the head, but when they pull the rope up from the well, it's just a watermelon, and Auntie begins walking. Okay, at this moment, I'd be like, nope, and get myself out of there. And then they eat the watermelon, with some drastic results. So, they all start cleaning up, and Gorgeous takes a bath. I'm not gonna lie, that's kinda creepy. So let's make our caramel sauce while that's all going on. In this pot, I just mixed together some brown sugar, butter, and cream. Once the brown sugar has melted completely, I'm going to take it off the heat and just move it to the back burner, which is on low. So, Gorgeous then goes to put some makeup on, and she starts seeing herself as a vampire. At the same time, Melody starts playing the piano, and the skeleton in the room decides to get jiggy with it. Sweet, on the other hand, is not having a good time, being eaten by a bunch of futon mattresses. Soon, the haunting begins in earnest. Gorgeous shows up and says she'll call the police, only to find out the phone is out of order. She exits and leaves the rest of the girls locked in the house. After a quick music video, the girls decide to find Auntie, thinking she has a device that locks the house after nightfall. Soon, they find out they were wrong, and the haunting gets more drastic. They ask Melody to play the piano to calm their nerves, and that ends up as well as you think it does. I swear I have not dosed y'all. This is actually happening. Okay, Prof and Fantasy are under attack by the opening to the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And Flash Gordon was there in silver underwear. And from reading Auntie's journal, Prof decides the cat picture must be destroyed, so she tells Kung Fu to destroy it, and Kung Fu starts to kick it only to... So remember, if you're in a dire situation with no way out, go out like Kung Fu. I actually say I'm going to go out like Kung Fu all the time and laugh because no one ever gets the joke. Anyways, let's fry up these wontons. Now we're going to do these in batches so they don't clump together. Just going to dunk them in some hot oil and then cook them until they're golden brown, flipping them when the top looks brown so that the other side can brown as well. Now I know what you're thinking. What about Mr. Togo? Well, he's trying to make his way to the house, but runs into the watermelon salesman, who asks if he likes watermelons, when Mr. Togo states he prefers... So now you see why I chose a banana-themed dessert. The watermelon salesman turns into a flying skull, and Mr. Togo... Well, back in the house, the destruction of the picture has caused massive flooding, and Prof is killed by a milk can. Fantasy soon sees Gorgeous on the stairs, but soon the audience finds out it's actually Auntie. Then there's an epilogue to the film. Gorgeous's father's fiancée pulls up to the house, complete with wind fan, next to a car filled with bananas. Get it? Mr. Togo turned into a bunch of bananas! It's hilarious! And she meets Gorgeous, who's dressed in a traditional kimono. They speak for about a minute before Gorgeous sets her ever-flowing scarf on fire and burns the fiancé to ash. And the movie just ends there. Well, everything else is done, so we're going to put our wontons on a very colorful plate, and then you can either drizzle the caramel sauce on top or serve it on the side for dipping, sort of like crab rangoon style. So, final thoughts on the film. This is one of the most beautiful films I've ever seen. It has every single video trick known to film at the time, but it doesn't feel cluttered. The acting is archetypal, but fits into the story, so it doesn't feel out of place. The film is from the point of view of a child, and that's what makes it creepy. However, seeing it from the point of view of an adult, there are actually some genuinely funny scenes. It'll make you laugh and still send chills down your spine. You feel the love for the project from everyone involved in every scene of this picture. This is great for a viewing party. Now, if you're not too familiar with some Asian film tropes, you may feel a bit lost, but you'll still enjoy it for the spectacle of it all. This is legitimately one of my favorite obscure films, and I think if you give it a chance, you will enjoy it as well. So gather up your friends, make some really good food, and enjoy this movie that will either have you say, "It's wonderful," or "WTF, mate?" Well, thanks for stopping by, thanks for tuning in, and come back next week when Bad Movie Friday Night covers one of the very first fandoms I ever joined. Beekly, snacks are ready! Oh. Well, bye, y'all.
Yum, 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 yum.